And once again, a huge shout out to all of our financial supporters over at patreon.com/878survivor.fm. All of our production managers, Shane Murphy, Tank Dazza, Hawks Hammer. Our producers, Red Freedom, thank you all so much for your generous support over all of this time. Next, a huge thanks to all of our YouTube members, all of our emote bandits, our 87.8 survivors, King Alobar, Raymond Normoyle, Marson P2, Melbourne's Adventures, Pettywetty, The Greedy Peasant, Sauerkraut, and The Receding Man. And our 2 podcast bosses, Kenny Baker and Foxy Pote. All of you are legends who help the shows go on each and every week. Thank you all for your support, even just by watching or listening, and we hope you enjoy this week's show. And it's another boomer moment. I have not got
We have another boomer moment.
We do.
Do the same thing that you done for Discord here, bud. In the meantime, while Boydie's sorting that out, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 184 of the DayZ Podcast. You are joined today by the main man, the main boomer, Boydie lad. How you doing?
How you doing, mate?
Yeah, I'm alright. I'm eating. I'm hungry. Joined today as well is a good friend Cobra. How you doing, bud?
Yeah, how you doing, mate? I'm all good this end, thank you.
Nice. And we are joined today by a good friend Alwaysstreams. How you doing, bud?
I'm fine, thank you.
Hell yes, very nice. You might have to bear with while Boydie fixes this issue. In the meantime, I'm eating, so Cobra.
Yeah, thanks for that, mate. Thanks for that. So, a lot's been happening this week. So, we're obviously going to be talking about the 120 update.
Welcome, everyone. It's good to be back. Probably not so good for all of you viewing, because the usual shit fight. But it's kind of a bit of a running joke with me and the streams. But I was very happy to see that even Lad managed to have a few technical issues, so it's not just completely a boomer thing.
Me? Technical issues? Don't know what you're talking about.
What the hell has happened to Blue? What's wrong with it? I just had a trim. It's getting a bit grayer, but
that's what I think he's talking about, Boydie. I think he's seen them grey hairs, mate. That's what he's chatting about.
He's in full troll mode tonight. He is in full troll
tell
mode.
Me about it.
Yeah. We need you always need someone like Scalespeter in your life. He keeps you honest. Okay, mate. What a week. 1.20, and a lot more going on. But we're going to come back to that because we have got a man who I have had the pleasure of spending a couple of intimate hours one-on-one with, the one, the only, Mr. Alwaysstreams. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fine, thank you. The intimate hours thing was just worded in such a terrible way.
No, it wasn't. It was worded exactly how I wanted it to come out.
No,
and that's how I got on the show.
I think I'll leave that with you two. Jesus.
I'm just wondering what my fucking invite was.
Been fine.
How you been always?
Yeah, been fine. Everything's going well. I was saying before, I got a new dog, so I'm just sort of spending time trying to train what I think is the devil's spawn. She just doesn't listen to anything.
She's a puppy, mate.
And she's slightly racist.
They don't listen to. Yeah.
Yeah, like it's just a lot to deal with. And as I say, she is slightly racist because we have a postman and she just doesn't like him. But everybody else who comes to the door, she's completely fine with.
Yeah, dogs are weird like that, though, man. They just sometimes they just don't want nothing to do with you, buddy. You it doesn't. There almost seems to be no logic to who they like and who they don't like.
No, that's true, but at the same time, I don't want to raise a Nazi.
You could go and get some tips from old mate Count Dankula.
Oh, dear.
I thought that was hilarious, the whole Count Dankula thing, but that's a story for another day. The Nazi pug. Oh my god. There we go. We've probably had this episode demonetized already. We're only 5 minutes into it, and we've already started talking about those Aryan loving sort of folks that I'm not going to say their name again because then they definitely will demonetize this episode. But mate, you just flying along with the videos still. You're just absolutely killing it always.
Yeah, I tried to get as many as I could out, and then things happened, and I had to take a little bit of a break. And then over Christmas, I had the idea to do the 12 DayZs of Christmas.
Yep.
And that was just 12 videos, one after another, to help everybody everybody new come into the community. And it was probably the worst thing I've ever done.
Excellent.
Why do you say the worst?
Fucking mood.
Oh, I was making videos all the way through the holidays.
Mhm.
I just didn't get a break, basically. Which it was fun because there was a lot of new people coming in with fresh questions, and I was sort of helping them out. And I quite like that part of it. I like engaging with people and, trying to get them on a good starting path. But yeah, it was just really difficult to sort of spend time with everybody else who wants to see me. And I'm like, oh, just 5 more minutes. I've got to finish this.
When you set yourself up for a big project like that, it can become all-consuming at times. You definitely know that well yourself, Cobra, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it can be a little bit of a drag sometimes if you're going to be. It's like uploading a new set of shorts for monetization on the 1st of February. I mean, I've fortunately managed to save up about 50, but the fact of the matter is, if you're starting out there and then, that is like a serious commitment. Every day you need to be on it. You always got to be getting the content, probably a month in advance. Oh, mate, is that what you've been doing always?
Well, no, at the time, the 12 days of Christmas, I was sort of doing it day by day.
Oh, mate, that is painful.
Yeah, well, I broke my jaw a few weeks earlier, and I stopped making content, and then I got to a point where I could talk okay and talk quite well.
How did you break your jaw?
I was like, oh, I'm a moron. That's how. Very long story short, I broke it myself.
I don't want a short story. I want the long story of this. Jaw breaking, that's an unusual one, and that kind of implies a bit of...
No. All that happened, it's so stupid and so pathetic. I had a tooth infection that stopped my mouth from opening, so I decided to try and open it. And I just heard a crack, basically, and it was like, uh-oh.
What did you do? Did you get like a crowbar in your mouth or something and yank down on it?
I was using thumbs. Thumbs and fingers, and yeah, it was horrendous.
I've never heard
You silly sausage.
That sounds like that lockjaw disease or something. A toothache that stopped you from opening your jaw. Wow, man, that's insane.
Always, I'd have just gone with a boxing story, mate. I'd have just said I got knocked out or something.
Oh yeah, I was down at a club and I was like, yeah, that would have been a much better rather than just my tooth was bad.
Yeah. I appreciate your honesty, my man. I appreciate your honesty. That's insane. That is absolutely insane. Wow. So it was like, how long did that have you out for? You were saying I think about 3-4 weeks, was it?
Well, luckily it's onset. So they wanted to wire my jaw up, and I was like, no, much to the dismay of my friends and family. I was like, you can't wire my jaw shut. It doesn't really need it right now. I can still move it. It's a little bit. It was quite numb. There was more numbness than pain. Yeah. There was more pain when it happened. But I called my mum. I was like, I've broken my jaw. She was like, oh my God, that's awful. I said, and they want to wire my jaw shut. She went, well, every cloud.
Give us some peace. How's that?
Yeah.
Only plan, mate. Only plan. It's all good.
So, what else have you been up to?
It was an
mate?
experience. Other than that, just work basically. That consumes my entire life. Work right now, and then I come home, don't sleep, and make videos.
Yeah, that's a mood. That is a mood right there.
So not a lot has changed, my man.
No, not a lot. But I'm a little bit more sleep deprived, but it's going well. The channel is going really well. I can't complain. Like I say, I'm getting so many interesting conversations from people, so many cool comments, so many shit comments. But it's mostly positive.
We all get that, mate. We all get that.
Yeah.
I've been quite impressed with the growth, mate. You are just absolutely, both you and Cobra, to be fair, relative, names that have just exploded onto the scene of recent and absolutely killing it. It's fantastic to see, all-time player high again recently, lad, and now content creators. It seems like every other week, lad, that you're seeing someone just got partnered on Twitch or monetized on YouTube. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's definitely gotten a lot better, especially in the past few months. You are right. You do see people who's applied for partnership, or especially the small streamers who they're really proud to get like affiliate on Twitch. But that's fantastic. Despite how we may feel about Twitch, that is an accomplishment of someone.
Yep.
And especially in this community where competition is hard, it's even better. So props to them.
And that's something. We touched on it a bit always. When we did the spotlight on you, but for both you and Cobra, the fact that you guys are coming out and making a name for yourselves in this, as Lad said, very congested community. I honestly don't recognize some of the names when I see someone I know shout out so and so just got partnered, and I'm like, who the hell is that? I just don't know. And you guys are really making an impact always.
Yeah, no, and like I say, I think that's incredible as well. And I still get completely humbled whenever somebody comments and is like, "Oh, this has really helped me," and things like that. And it is, and it's difficult, and I don't know why people are coming to me over some others. But I'm really glad that they do.
I put it down to your classic children's or British children's show like Paddington Bear narration voice, mate. You've just got this voice that just resonates with me personally. It sounds like so many shows that I've listened to in the past, and now that voice has transferred to DayZ. Have you noticed that about his voice, Cobra?
Well, I wouldn't say Paddington Bear, but I would say he's doing a very good job. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
No, he's got this this voice that just yeah.
On like with that, you should actually like open up one of your next videos as kind of like one of those British TV children's TV shows, like the freshie has woken up the beach. It's time to play, or some shit like that.
Oh no!
No, yes.
Oh no!
I need this in my life always. You need to do this. Yes, it could be like a Sir David Attenborough. You've got that sort of a voice, mate. And here we see the freshie in his native environment.
Oh shit!
I'm sorry, but I don't think I could ever hear a Scouser say that. I'm sorry, like, but no, I'm good.
I'm sorry. That would be absolutely brilliant. A DayZ Nature Watch, and here we see the douchebag of the game, the geared guy on the coast. Unfortunately for him, his mortal enemy is waiting just around the corner. A herd of freshies. They have nothing to fear and everything to gain. Oh, mate!
With nothing but a tin of bacon.
Yep. If you don't, someone needs to do this. That would be an absolutely phenomenal series. I see Michael saying in chat there, another massive streamer has tried DayZ recently, Choco Taco. For those who don't know him, he's a big name in the PUBG area. Finally got frustrated with the game and he moved on to playing other stuff, but he used to play with Shroud all the time. And
Right.
yeah, very interesting to see him give it a try because he's a bit more of a serious streamer, not so much of a troll like some streamers are. So that's fantastic to see. But always, mate, Cobra pointed out a video of yours that he was quite fascinated in. Cobra, the Mythbuster one.
Yeah, I was. Did I send you the link to that? I think I did, didn't I?
Yes.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, I always every week, as you already know, always had a brief chat with you before. Always look at a mixture of the new creators, some of the old, some of the big ones, some of the small, some of the up and coming, and the interesting kind of topic I see a lot of is either tutorials or the kind of Mythbuster thing. I think Freshspawns are doing a bit now. They've named it something that's slightly different. But I did see your video and I thought it was very well presented, mate. So I think Boydie's going to put a little link in the chat somewhere. Is that right, Boydie?
Yes, I am. Just getting to the chat.
So just make sure you go and have a little chat on that.
Isn't there?
Ah,
It's gone.
oh, have you taken it down?
Dare you?
Yes, there were a few issues with the clip in it, so it's gone.
Oh, okay. In that case, I saw it before you took it down.
let me guess.
Well,
your little bit of humour that you inject into the videos was too much for YouTube's algorithm, and they demonetized you.
Yeah. Well, they demonetized it almost immediately, but then it was just after a while it was best to take it down. Also, it sort of requires a lot more research, which Dumgra managed to do, which I was pretty impressed with. But yeah, my clips get most of my videos demonetized. But you know, if I tried putting a video out once without the clip, and people were like, "Where's the clip?" So I'm sort of bound into that structure now.
Yeah, you kind of like when it comes to situations like that, it's kind of like, okay, you know, the people want content, but obviously you want to make sure that you get paid for your time. But it's kind of like, can you get that balance when your stuff gets demonetized? It's pretty
it's
damn
getting
hard.
insane though at the moment. The YouTube changes that they've made recently. I know Scalespeed has covered that quite heavily, but it's bad. It's really, really bad. The thing that annoys me the most always is how vague it is.
Yeah. I mean, to be in their defense, I knew it was a community breach right away. I don't know if you saw the clip, but I knew it was being demonetized as soon as I put it out.
Do you want to talk us through that bit, mate? What made you put that in?
It was just a clip I found. I record, like I say, I record DayZ. So whereas a lot of people will use admin tools and stuff, I usually just play the game and then I'll make the videos. I'll have something in mind that I want to sort of do and accomplish, and I'll play the game, which is why a lot of my videos will have similar suits on the guy, similar clothing, similar guns and so on, because it's like one playthrough. So I do get clips throughout these certain playthroughs, and I'm thinking, you know, that will suit a video. And the one I put up was I think I was charging a zombie, and it was a woman, and it was hi, my name is Dana White, and then I punched her.
Okay.
And YouTube was like, no, that's not what we do out here, guy. Yeah.
God.
So basically comedy's banned.
Yeah, you're not allowed to. Yeah, okay, I can understand that because I didn't actually know the reason why it was taken down. But in fact, until you said now, I didn't realise it had been demonetised. But I can understand why you've chosen to take it away now. When I watched the whole video, I think actually I watched 95% of it. All of the bits that I saw. I thought it was well done, mate. So, you know, just keep going, just keep doing what you're doing. And if there's a little bit in it that needs to be edited out, I suppose, then you could always re-upload it if you wanted to, couldn't you, without that bit in it?
Yeah, that's true. But I'll always keep the clips in because I've said from the beginning, I don't do it for money. If they don't get demonetized, great. But if they do, as long as I think it's a video that will help somebody, then I'm going to keep it up. But
Good on
that
you.
one was a bit
Good on
different.
you, mate. And it's kind of, yeah, we joke about it here, and we're very cognizant, lad, of, when we do something that might get us demonetized. But for the most part, we don't try to change our format too much, do we, buddy? We just be ourselves.
I've already sworn like 5 times.
Yeah.
To slightly interject, DOJ was saying that everybody sounds like a 1950s sitcom apart from you. So, nice. Let's grayscale everything and let's just be like, how do you do? Because that's a bit weird. Bit of a weird audio technical issue, but it's fine. But yeah, no, I mean... I don't know what the hell YouTube's thinking, considering they changed their policy like twice within the past year now. And it's all, it's all to do with the advertisers and everything like that. Like, the first 8 seconds, you don't swear. When it comes to graphic gameplay, you're not really supposed to show it after like a certain amount of time or something like that. I think it's like the first 7 seconds again. Mm-hmm. But people have been making videos where they swear once and like after 5 minutes and they still get slammed. And it's like... yeah, it's a bit weird. I don't know what's going on there. Maybe the bots that's pursuing the algorithm of having a bit of a field day. But I'm going to laugh if it turns out around about the start of February, it'll change. So it's a bit more lenient. Because January is always a terrible time for advertisers.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Wouldn't that would actually be a genuine, like, funny conspiracy if it turned out that the whole reason why we've got such a harsh restriction right now is simply so the advertisers don't pay out as much to content creators to save money. And then
conspiracists.
when February comes, oh mate, I need a tinfoil hat. Come on, let's go. But yeah, so but. I have been a bit curious about how it's actually affected content creators, especially with DayZ, considering the kind of game that it is. Especially for live streaming. Because you never know what you're going to get. You never know who you're going to run into. I mean, I've played the game when it's just been myself. I'm not streaming, and somebody's saying very naughty words.
And to be specific, we're talking about live streaming on YouTube, folks, because that's the great unknown. Twitch, it's pretty known what you're doing, but and Scalespeed, that's fair enough. But as Lad just said, what about for the people who are streaming on YouTube? If they're going to run into someone and they're going to get someone say something bad, Lad, it's where do they stand?
Yeah,
are they going to get a community guideline strike? Are they going to what? If they get someone say something a bit too edgy.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. And again, I hope, YouTube said, they listen to feedback, which is great. But like I said, my main biggest concern is somebody who doesn't stream or make videos. Like, if I do, it's kind of like a showcase, so I don't get money off of it. It's kind of like, how are the content creators on this specific DayZ platform? How are they coping? Like, January is always a terrible month. Like I said, for advertising. I mean, Cobra, you'll know yourself. I can only imagine that your kind of like revenue is a little bit down this month.
Well, actually, mine's shot up. To be fair,
how
I think
dare you?
the thing with it all is, I mean, I must admit, going off what we were just talking about there, I've changed the way in which I do my lives and my my content. So my kind of golden rule is, if I really, really limit bad language from my part, unless it's the odd oh shit moment, then none of my stuff gets demonetized. If I run into somebody, I had one on a stream last night who was talking about I killed a hen for him, right? And he started running around trying to hit people with his cock, basically, because he had this hen in his hand. And he said, I run around, I'm gonna beat you up with my cock, kind of thing. Now, the thing is, if it's not me doing that, and it's live, there's nothing anyone can do about that. So it would be very, very harsh, unless it's complete profanity, massive usage of horrible words. Then for me, I would just move away from that scenario. That's the only way you could do it live. But other than that, you just roll with it, and what it is what it is, isn't it?
Has
pretty
anyone
much.
is anyone aware of anyone who's had any feedback on the content of the video, the visual content? The
i.e. fights and that. You're talking
fights,
about
shooting someone,
the blood.
running up and just chopping someone up and stuff like that. Because some of the wording around that in the changes was a bit concerning to me as well. Always, have you heard anything from anyone?
No, when I did a video where I cut somebody up and then made their friend eat them. And I didn't get any kind of feedback from that whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've never had any either, and I've obviously done all that kind of stuff before. I think with the change from the last update with the blood on the screen, like popping up on your screen when you cut in various different areas, I thought that might be a case where they would change a little bit or have a little guidance possibly on. But it doesn't seem to have affected anyone I know. I've not heard of anyone having issues with any of that recently.
Nope, me neither.
So, okay, that's good to hear, because that did worry me, because they do talk about with violence in video games, and they're quite specific about some of the stuff, and it's DayZ written all over it with how they manage or mention some of the issues. So we'll watch your space and see what happens. And yeah, as people are saying, the Sniper Elite videos, no surprise there. Yeah, when you look at some of those shots where the bullets are going through testicles and stuff like that, that is a bit graphic. But at the same time, I don't know. I'm putting my tinfoil hat on here, and I'm always worried about when they start being God with what they can and can't. What they will and won't allow on their platform, and it just makes it difficult when there's so much vaguity. And the big issue as well, Cobra, is when you just can't speak to someone. I saw a guy who had a video that was like 2 hours up, and they shut it down, and he asked for a manual review, and 10 minutes later he got a message saying the manual review by a person had found it to be false. It was like, how do you review a 2-hour video in, okay, whatever. It's so hard to get actual feedback from them, but yeah. But the big news of the week, Lad 1.20.
It's good. It's good. It's a phenomenal update, and like I'll just say this right now, and quite frankly, I really don't care. This update it's fantastic for the amount of bug fixes and everything like that, and the modding changes and everything. Like it's crazy. It's brilliant. Something that the community has been asking for months for them to focus on, and they've been doing it. It's great. The content, right? The masks. I'm not going to use them. I don't really care. Like, I really, really don't care. I'll not use them. But they're there. It's like, okay, fair enough. They're there. It's probably for something coming in the future. It's great. But that fat fix log. Oh, mate. Brilliant. But there's only one problem. No ADS fix yet.
Now, but run me through that.
They
I
are
did see
addressing
something about that. Someone had a post somewhere where it's apparently there's multiple factors causing the ADS bug.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, yeah, there will be. There's probably a lot of like legacy stuff in there that's kind of like guessing in the way, and probably, so I would imagine, some network synchronization issues that they're trying to like quash, which is fair. We can already guarantee with them, once that update hits with that fix, it's going to be phenomenal. It's going to be great. When that'll happen, we don't know. Right? We don't know. Another thing that they've actually tried to work on is the cars. They said they fixed ADS on Top Interview. They've probably fixed some elements, but there's probably more that they've actually realized, wait, hang on, let's take a step back, looking at this again, take a new angle. Most likely, I don't know. But it's no, it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. What do you think, Streams?
About the entire 120.
Yeah. Come on, hit us with your thoughts so I can cry.
Not like on every part of it, but what were the standout things for you?
Yeah.
Always?
Yeah, because I can go through every single patch if you want, like every single patch note, and I think I to be honest, I think it's more of a patch that is fixing things, as sort of mentioned, and I'm pretty happy with it. There's a few things, the foot wraps, for example. I don't personally think that's excuse the pun, step in the right direction. Like the sort of adding sounds to it, and it's just it feels as though they're sort of taking away some of the stealth aspect. The thing about DayZ is it's so incredible to just give you the freedom to do whatever it is you want to do. If you want to do this setup, that setup, this playstyle, that playstyle, but to take away foot wraps, like make them so they damage a lot more easily. That's perfectly fine. But I think adding sound to them is not only illogical, but that.
I
saying
agree
that,
with you on that, mate. I do. I'm going to interject before you move on to something else. I agree with you. As OP as they were, I think they should have just been, destroyed within, I don't know, maybe 400 or 500 meters. That you wear them out really, really quickly, depending on what you're doing. But I like the fact that there was this item that maybe they were a bit too OP, maybe adjust them slightly, but to have them sounding like assault boots now, I don't agree with that always. I like your idea of they should just have made them so that you couldn't wear them non-stop. They wear out very quickly, but they're still uber quiet.
Yeah, absolutely. Because DayZ is a game of balance. Every positive has a negative. You sort of have to weigh things up, and I do feel as though that's just so far negative. I know they're there for emergencies only, but it sort of rendered them otherwise useless.
Yeah, I actually have heard what Michael said in chat, the power of the running man. He's been very vocal in hating them. And look, if they're abused, yeah, but what did you think about him, Cobra?
Well, I mean, there's no point in me repeating what we've already said here. I've got the same opinion. I don't think I can add much more to it. That's already been said.
I can, though. I'm happy with the change.
Really?
You're the odd man happy out with the change. Yeah, for once, it's great, isn't it? No, I'm happy with the change because the problem is that any kind of item like that adds some sort of like OP aspect to it, it does need changing. And yes, the Running Man's has been very vocal about it, and a lot of other content creators have. They've been very vocal about it, and I know players, they literally just play it. They've been vocal about it. Improvised shoes, yeah, they're a great idea, don't get me wrong, and fantastic in a pinch. Maybe they could do with toning down the sound level just a tiny little bit. But I overall, I like the change. I really, really like the change, and the need to step up on changes like that and to level the playing field and to rebalance the game just a little bit more. And it's good that they've also, I believe they toned down the health of them as well, which is even better.
I think, no offense to them, I think they took the easy option, Cobra. I see Mackay saying they're abused way too much. You'd kill people with a bag full of them. It's a good change. And that's a fair point. But why not do something like, like 2 rags? Okay, that's a pretty small amount of stuff to actually create a decent foot covering. Why not make it you needed a full stack of 6 and a sewing kit? And it uses like an incredible amount of a sewing kit. But it's almost, well, I said it. It's the easy option, in my opinion, what they've done, when there could have been better ways. Make it more difficult to make them so that, you've got to be prepared. To have a bag full of them, I agree, that's ridiculous. What do you think, Cobra?
Oh, no, I completely agree, mate. I mean, I'm waiting for the topic of wet clothing to come up because that was an interesting one as well. But no, mate, in the whole, I do agree with what you're saying here.
Yep. Well, the wet clothing, that was an interesting one as well, always. What did you think of that, buddy?
See, I like that change. I think that's really good. I'm pretty sure that's something that's coming back as well. That's been there. I do think the use of being wet in DayZ should be explored a little more. I know with the
Oh, God,
matches, for example, you can't use them if they're damp
Yep.
and things like that. But I do really like that change. I think that's good, and I've been telling people for so long to always watch your stamina. It's such an underrated thing, and it's underutilized as well. But at the same time, it depends at what level it's, because it seems to make quite a difference. So it depends at what level they sort of leave it at and balance it at the end, because you don't want to be to a point where you're afraid to pick anything up, because again it would limit play style and you'd only really be able to play a light game. There should be, again, balance. There should be some benefit to being lighter rather than because I mean there's a benefit in the sense that you can run further.
A lot of that always comes down to the clothing, in particularly like the backpack. Does this mean we're going to see more people grabbing the little dry sacks to stick inside their backpack to keep everything dry inside? Because I can tell you from personal experience, and I'm pretty sure Cobra and anyone else who's either been military or into hiking and backpacking and that sort of stuff, when you are dripping wet, my God, it adds a lot of weight to you. It's not a nice feeling, especially your boots. If your boots and your socks get wet, that really drains you, because they almost double in weight, don't they, Cobra?
Well, I mean, it was interesting because I was on there today and I was looking at some of these little things. And what I noticed, and always, maybe you can advise from what you've been seeing if you played it since the update. Well, since this thing's been kicking. I deliberately went in and got soaked today in the sea, and I came out and I kind of, at first, I didn't see a difference at all. But then when it came to stam, I think I was 15-25% down. Is that roughly what you're seeing?
Oh, I haven't had a chance to play
from
with
what
it yet,
I
always.
was. Yeah, from what I seen, it did. To be honest, I thought it was more around the 30%, but it could
30%.
Could be a lot less. I've only had a little bit of time with it, but for me, it did impact movement. It sort of plays with the inertia a little bit, which again I really like.
I think thing I do wonder about, Lad, is how is this going to affect the Molsk, with people having to do the swim to go to the to a couple of remote sites in the oil rig and that.
NBC suits will always reign supreme.
Good point.
Okay, so the thing is, right, and the whole like stamina situation when it comes to how wet you are is actually completely configurable on the server side. And I've actually seen these settings and I've tested them and they're pretty interesting. And it's done in like 5 different settings. So when you are dry and damp, the same. Your stamina won't go down. You won't take a hindrance. I believe your winter. In fact, tell you what, I'm actually going to quickly double check so I'm not just spouting absolute garbage, which is something that I'm very good at. I believe at the very least, when you're completely drenched, you take like ×2 or at least double the stamina hindrance at that point. So if you're thinking, maybe that applies to every single item, maybe not, maybe it's to the entire character, I don't know. But it's all in the CFG gameplay JSON file. And you can change that. You can change it to any single number, as far as I've seen. Yes, so wetness weight modifiers, 1.0, then 1.33, then 1.66, and 2.0. So it's completely configurable. Now, how will it affect players? They're really going to have to think about what they're doing. Yeah. Straight up. Like, and this is the thing. This is what I've been kind of thinking of when I was reading it. Maybe DayZ is starting to promote a slower pace.
Yeah. I agree.
Like, you're thinking a bit more about, okay, it's pissing down. You don't want to get soaked. You're carrying a lot of gear anyway. You're sluggish. It's a good start. And and people can correct me if I'm wrong. You all right there, buddy?
I'm just picturing all of the people who are going to start crying if DayZ is doing that, lad. That's all. They're trying to slow me down.
Don't care.
PvP will be
mate,
interesting.
but I'm with you.
let's-
You're laughing, Cobra. Always, you're probably aware of it. But lad, it's you know it's coming, don't you? If they do that,
Mate, people already been screaming and shouting at the devs for fixing bugs. So I mean,
yeah.
But to go back to the point, to go back to it, I think DayZ is going to start promoting a more of a slower pace of play, which is good. It's going to the more hardcore style. You really have to, think about what you're doing. And I've always said when it comes to inertia, and I'll say this for when weapon inertia is introduced, having server owners have the option to change the settings to how they like it is best. And I know some people have, they've talked about it, especially in the podcast Discord, where they've said, it's not good to have that level of change because everyone have to adapt. Yes, adapt. That's what you're kind of supposed to. Find your main server, adapt to that system. You get bored of that, swap to another. It allows PvP servers, and I'm thinking strictly of community. You have your PvP servers, which is quick pace. It's quick, you don't have to worry about wetness. And then you've got your hardcore servers where you really have to think about your weight. Genuinely think about weight, apart from just how much time do I have to run. It's great. It's a really great change, and I'm happy for it.
Well, I think... yeah, go on, Boydie.
You finished. I was going to change topics. Add your point to this one.
Just a very, very quick one. So it'd be interesting to see what all your thoughts are, but always, because you're a content creator like me, you're probably going to have a similar view. So recently, you've obviously got a lot more focus upon the hardcore servers. A lot more clientele are going to the hardcore servers. They're either doing that or, as Lad just said, the fast-paced PvP stuff. Now, for me, this change is great in terms of the fact that if you want a more survival existence experience of what it's, pretty much going to be like, then these changes are that, or go in that way. Now, for those that just love running around PvPing, this ain't for you. That kind of change is not for you. So I guess most of you, if you're not already, are going to be hitting those community servers. But PvP type community servers. But for me, I've got to say, I do like this change.
Yeah,
boy,
I'm the same.
Same.
Yeah.
One that kind of confused me though, why they did something with it, is the attempts to play/fix with the third-person camera. Now, I don't play third-person. I'm a first-person elitist, but. I understand that it is a bit of an issue, but it's kind of always been there. And I've watched some of the content where they're showing the changes to the third-person camera always, and I actually started feeling a bit motion sick watching people going through houses and stuff like that, and the camera. What are your thoughts on it? Always, have you had much to look at it on?
I have, yeah. I actually had a bit of a discussion with Dumgra yesterday. He likes the change, and with completely valid points. For me, again, when I make content, I always make it in third person because it's aesthetically better. However, when I play on my own, it's always first person. I am a first person player, so I don't really have any actual dogs in this race, but I do think. It's sort of, I think the words I used yesterday was, it's catering to the gatekeepers. All the people who say, oh, DayZ should only be pure, it should only be first person. You play third person in any game, you know what you're going to get. You have the same advantages, other people. And not just that, as you say, it's been done in a way that you will get used to it, but at the same time, you'll get used to it in a way that's like, well, this just feels a bit rough. It's uncomfortable at this stage.
I think they did ask for a lot of feedback on that, though, didn't they, lad? That's one thing that, to their credit, on everything they've changed, but they've asked for the community to give them a lot of feedback on it. So, what's the best way for them to do that, lad?
There are so many different methods that they can do to fix the issue, and there's never going to be a right way. You're always going to piss off one group or whatever else.
Yeah.
With the change right now, I like it. I think it's good. I've played a bit of it. You know, I was testing my mods last night, which by the way, they're broken to shit now, so that's great. But I had a good healthy dose of like actually playing it, moving around, see how the free like the third person peeking works, and it's good. To me it feels natural. Like I instantly got used to it, and it's like, okay, yeah, this is good. Now the only issue is that if you stay in the same position, swap camera angles, you can still peek, which is a bit.
Yeah, it doesn't actually fix it.
No.
Yeah, you have to kind of like mess around with your camera angle just a little bit, just by pressing Q or E, depending on which kind of side of the wall you're on. And you can still third person peek. It's kind of like, right, yeah, but at the same time, it's it's experimental. They want your feedback, and they're open to it, and people have been open about the feedback,
100%.
which is great. You know, that's and I've got a few pointers I actually need to file over the weekend, because a few things that I've discovered, which I'll talk about a little bit later. And just want to address what Lake's saying here. I'll say it for everybody who's listened to the audio only. To ultimately fix third-person combat imbalance, they need to have a true sight mechanic where things don't render in unless your character actually sees it. It's the only solution I see. That already happens. It's called culling. DayZ already has that. It only renders what you see, and if there's anything behind an object that's like completely covered, it won't render. So
I think
they
he
already
might be
technically have
talking
that.
along the lines of similar to what Scum has, where if your player could not actually physically see it IRL, if they were behind a tree or something, it doesn't actually render that in, so that you can't use that camera exploit of peeking around walls and that. I admired, and I've said this before, I thought that was a very novel idea of Scum, but to me, Cobra, if you're going to play third person, you know what third person involves.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, if people are aware of it, if you don't like it, just go play first person.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, when I hit a lot of first and third person servers, but I only play these days in first person. When I first started playing the game a long time ago, I did used to dabble a little bit to start with in third person, just so I could get the hang of it and kind of work out what was what. But I very, very quickly changed straight to first person and have never gone back. So, I know when I hit, for instance, an official server that is both, I know that other people are going to get a better angle. They're going to see things I can't. But you either deal with that or you don't, quite frankly. So for me, I just carry on as normal, and that's it.
Not just that; it's got to a point where no matter what object you go next to, it sort of does this weird zoom thing. But you can just step like a foot away from, say, a wall or a fence and still peek over it.
Yeah.
There are ways around it, and you can still see through walls as well, like actually clip through the walls. So it doesn't actually solve the issue. It makes it a little bit more difficult, but once people adjust to the system, the same issue is going to be there. Yeah. So for me, I think that should have been left personally. Like there's a lot they've done, and I think it's incredible, especially over the past 2 years. And you know me, I don't have any ties with them whatsoever. Like I can completely speak freely. And I am absolutely 100% impressed with the work they've done.
Yeah.
And everything else for making DayZ just a lot better. It's sort of, it's bringing it up to date and even slowing things down, sort of going more towards the survival, less towards the PvP.
Yeah,
I think is such a good decision on their part.
And as Lad said, just look at the sheer size of that fixed column, lad. It's
so good.
A thing of beauty, isn't it?
Oh God, it's really nice, and whoever they got there at the team now, you're doing a good job. You really are. Like the team. I mean, when I heard that they split 119 and 120 in half, I was kind of thinking, oh, great. That's not great. Maybe 120 is going to be a bit of a really light patch. It's not going to have that much. And I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, yeah, splitting them was probably a really good idea. Phenomenal idea.
One thing I did want to explore a bit more, I want to bring your segment forward, lad. Yeah, one of the things you wanted to talk about was mods are broken. What is going on with that, mate? Fix your mod. It's a great opportunity for us to get in the fix your fucking mod meme. But what can you give us a bit more detail on what's happened?
It's chaos in there. Don't go in there. It's pretty rough. At least, so right. From the mods that I've tested, at the very least, again, I can only talk about my experience. I haven't really heard that many people talk about it a little bit. So the DX diag, which is something that is mentioned in these patch notes, something they introduced in the last update, which, by the way, it's great. It's brilliant. The game's really hashing down on how you're basically doing your scripts. Like, for example, my lad's Light and Overhaul mod, it relies on overriding certain scripts in the base game. In 1.19, it's fairly lenient. It's all right. It works. But now, it's asking you to do a whole bunch of different changes, a whole bunch of different stuff to get that working again. Especially in the DX diag. Now, I don't know for certain if it's going to be the same working on like a normal client or server-based exe, but at least with the diagnostic tools, it pings it up, and it's like, I am not having that at all. Which is good, because it means that people's mods, which are broken, or maybe they're working with 1.19, and maybe 1.20 is kind of like, actually, you need to make this change to make it work more better, more optimized. I don't know, but you need to make those changes. I've tried to run admin tools like VPP and stuff like that. Do not work, at least in the DX diag. I've talked to a couple of people, and it is because there's a weird thing with the diagnostic exe that kind of conflicts, so it's kind of annoying. But apparently those work for 1.20, so like stuff like CF, DF, stuff like that will still work for 1.20, which honestly, thank God. That is the day that those mods break and there's like no support, a lot of servers are gonna die. So it's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. Modding though is going to get really interesting from this point on, and CF with Zomberry works. Okay, I'll have to try Zomberry then, because I don't.
What was the modders Discord like?
Honestly, quiet.
Yeah.
They were like genuinely quiet. There was not that much chitter chatter about 1.20. People talking about a lot of the fixes, and they were really happy about it, which is great. A few people there about the content, but mate, with the modders Discord, we'll make our own content. So it's fine. We don't really care. But no, people were really happy about it, and there was a few modern changes in there, which were really, people were happy about. Nothing that would overly benefit myself, but those changes are there, those fixes are there, so it's great. And like I was saying about the DX diag tools, the diagnostic tools, they're brilliant. A lot more better. A lot more tools to work with to kind of like figure out where your shit's going wrong. But yeah, it's a good start. That's what I can really say. It is a very good start.
Mm-hmm.
And at the end of the day, if people want fixes or features or stuff like that, you've just got to put in the feedback tracker. Like I said, I'm going to be doing that. Like there's certain things I want in the DX diag tools, so I don't have to use admin tools, like a spawn menu or something like that, so I can just spawn in what I need right there and then. I don't have to go around loop for it in case admin tools don't work. I'd rather have everything in-house as much as possible without the reliance on other stuff. But, it is what it is.
So it's not that bad, but it's going to be a fair bit of work for a lot of people out there.
It will be. Like, my Flashlight mod pack, it is just essentially the equivalent of
every time
a whole
you say
bunch
that,
of
all
garbage.
I hear is Flashlight. That says a lot more about me than I think it does about you, but yeah, flashlight. Ooh,
Mate,
yeah,
don't. Mate. Cobra's like, what the fuck?
I don't know what's going on here, boys. But anyway,
all he's hearing is.
He lies. He knows what's going on. Just what happens out bush stays out bush.
But what's my flashlight mod is completely and utterly broken. I have. Like, that mod is outdated by, like, at least a year or two at this point anyway, so it's like, it is what it is, but it is completely broken now. And I feel sorry for 11,000 people using it, because I don't really want to update that thing.
Always,
I really don't want to.
As our guest, mate, what was your favourite thing from the 1.20 experimental so far for you?
Oh, probably the weight. I'm not gonna lie. I've wanted that to be a thing for so long. I love the inertia and that came in the last one, and I love the weight that's coming to this one as well.
Yep. Awesome. Right.
do you know what?
Sorry, go.
Before you get there, Boydie, I was going to say, I was expecting you always to come out with a new eye patch, mate. That's what I thought he was coming out with. That thing is awful. Have you seen it?
The masks.
Completely pointless. It's fun to have, though. I like the cosmetic things that add, and I think that's a really good step in the right direction as well, because we have had the same clothing and things for a while.
Yeah,
so
it's something new.
just adding little bits. Even the masks. Yeah, even the masks. They don't make a huge difference, but then there are some players, specifically role players, for example, who'll be able to use them, and also people who are in groups, they'll be able to sort of match them up. So I think it's these little things just make the world of difference. I would like to see more clothing, and like I'd like the next patch to sort of focus either around base building, which I know they've got no plans for.
Yeah, I agree.
Clothing,
I agree.
but I know they've got other plans in mind, which I'm also looking forward to as well.
And before we move on, a lot of people will be saying, but you know, if we've already got mods with clothes, just what about console, folks? They don't have bugger all. And all of this stuff brings in additional content for them. And as much as you might be a PC master racer, but the console community accounts for way more people than there are playing it on PC. And that's money going into the company, which is supporting the development of the game. So check your privilege. Always wanted to say that. Yeah, and I think I actually used it in a way that's legitimate and not just annoying, and realised that it's a good thing for the game to get more and more stuff in there. Now, I'm glad we got to start with a couple of good things, because this next topic, it was really sad to see the backlash against the Chernarus Has Fallen server. All because of a certain douchebag who was playing on that server. And people decided to start attacking the actual server. And some fairly big names were doing it, Cobra. It was quite despicable.
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I think most content creators are kind of staying well away from that. I definitely am. I have played the server before. I don't really hold too much of a view on all of that kind of mess and rubbish that's happened over the last few weeks. I know that there's been a few upset people. The one thing, though, that I don't agree with, and that is a server being the kind of victim in all of this, because the server itself, I don't think there's much wrong with that server. I've played it. I don't play it all the time, but I have played it. I don't really know what position to take on it all, because of everything that's gone on in the last couple of weeks. You know, I think there's so much that needs to calm down now. People just need to go, do you know what? There's a little bit of drama. A few people have said a few things. Time to move on. I think that's the best way.
The other stuff. Well, yeah, I got into it with someone on Twitter. I'm not going to go into it too much either, but that's not really what concerns me. You know, that is what it is. That stuff will always happen. It was the cancelling per se of Chernarus Has Fallen, lad, for the fact that a person plays on that server. And all of these big names who, you know, I sat there and I was looking at some of them going, have you even played on the server before? Do you know anything about the server? Do you, you know? And I did have some communication with them, and they were like, they were surprised at some of the people who were tweeting about their server as well. And yeah, it's hard because those hardcore servers, lad, they're fucking hard to keep relevant, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, I played on the server and I enjoyed it, and I died miserably. I shot myself and see myself turn into an infected, so I was like, okay, I liked it. I mean, I liked it anyway. But I'm looking at the server list right now. It's max pop.
Yeah, there you go.
Good.
Like 39 out of 40, I should say. But it's like when it came to all the content creators and people like that who they're saying, I'm never gonna play in your server because of XYZ, and you should be doing XYZ. It's like, I mean, I'm not in drama, but I mean, Boydie, you know me. When it comes to drama, I'm just kind of like, I'm laid back. I just let it play its course, and I just stick in my own little corner, doing my own stuff. Do I agree with what was done? I honestly don't know. I really don't know. But all I can say is that I'm really happy that Shinaris Has Fallen has got 39 out of 40.
Good.
Yes.
And the pop has been very consistent. The Discord has always been very great. And I'm just gonna say this: they were thrown under the bus as well by, and that speaks a lot. And that's all I'm gonna say on that matter.
Yep,
because I don't really want to.
Ignore the person who says he's playing on these servers. He's got nothing to do with these servers. They don't endorse him or nothing like that. He's just. I've done it myself. I've advertised what server I play on, lad.
I actually want to say, instead of focusing on the drama of the server, watch Gecko Fish's videos.
Yes,
there you go.
On that server.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I'm pretty sure that his videos will contribute a lot to its positive popularity, which is great. And you know, I will admit, I watched his videos. I was like, I'll give it another go. And it was fun. You know, it was hard. It was fun. But you know, life, and this is gonna sound really fucking silly, maybe cringy. I don't know. I don't really care. But like, life is literally too short, and this community is just. There is no need for it. Yes, there are going to be people out there who say nasty things. That's fair enough. And you are also well within your right to basically fling the shit back at them. That's if that's your prerogative, go for it, you know? But to start to like crap on a server or boot group of people, I don't know. It's kind of like, maybe I'm just too much on the fence about it. Maybe I just really, when it comes to drama, I'm just like, it is what it is. But all I can just say right now is, let's just move on. Let's move on from the situation. You'll have your corner of people, they'll have their corner of people. You're always going to bicker and argue. It's been going on for ages. It's tiring. It's just tired. Just make some good stuff. Make some positive videos. You know, interact with
server a shot.
Good community.
That's the ultimate message of why I brought this up. Give the server a shot. I'm glad you mentioned, because I'd completely forgotten about Gecko Fish's videos on it. Always, have you played it? Or Chernerus Has Fallen?
Yeah, I've been on it. The thing I'll say as well as with regard to content creators making things is content creators a lot of the time will, myself included, just jump on a bandwagon of what is sort of the talk at the time to try and, you know, get the videos out there. And everyone does it who makes content. And I think it does exacerbate the entire issue. But the people who suffer the most really are the players. And the same thing happened with Sunnyvale. Now, Sunnyvale, obviously the whole drama with them, it was the players that really suffered, because I still get people commenting and being like, oh, so you should try Sunnyvale now. You know, it's a really good server. It's doing well. And it's like, they were great servers. And, you know, sometimes a server can be great and then there's drama or something around it and it loses popularity. But like I say, it's always the players that seem to suffer, because it's hard to find a server that you can just stay on and be like, this is the server that I want to move forward
Yeah.
on now. And when people find that these things happen,
Yep.
so I do feel sorry for a lot of people playing it.
Yeah, me too, mate. And that's why I was saying exactly the same. It's time to move on now. That's it.
It is time to move on,
Yeah.
and we're going to move on to Raxto. We've got to get this guy on the podcast. The information he shares on his Twitter account. Now, I'll share the tweet, but there's a TV show apparently called The Sleepers. The series features real locations from military bases, which served as the inspiration for the military base Tizzy in DayZ. And yeah, here's some of the images. I love this guy's Twitter because he's always got these little tidbits of info. The geolocations. I think he was the one who shared about the sad stuff that happened to the building that's the inspiration for the civilian airport building, lad. Is that correct?
I believe so. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. But it's. I mean, I've seen this, and it's quite surreal. Like how do I explain it? It's like I can't get the fucking words, mate.
Unlike you.
I dream of going to some of these locations. I don't know about you, Cobra, but I would give my left nut to visit. Walk up the ramp here to the radar installations, and yeah, I would be in fucking nerd heaven.
See, this is the thing. It sounds to me like we are setting ourselves up for a little trip in the next 6 months to 12 months where we get out, take a few photos of these type of locations where we can go, oh look, lad was here, Boydie's been here, Cobra's been there. You know, I think that's what we're missing, innit? We need a bit of that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
We just need.
We're going to need to sell a few more hoodies and podcast caps before we can afford a budget for something like that, mate. But that would be the dream. That would be the fucking dream. Imagine doing a show live from fucking.
This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Doing a show live on top of that Tizzy ramp. How's that?
Yeah, get a heater because I'm not doing that in the freezing cold.
Yeah,
I'm
point.
good.
Actually, that would be very, very cold that time of year. But yeah,
I got enough already.
I shared Raxo's Twitter account, and guys, he just posts some of the coolest, military base of Tizzy game was inspired by a real anti-aircraft base located in Rudy above Dobrus near Prague. It was anti-aircraft missile area with installation of system S-200 Vega with 3 guidance radars and 3 anti-aircraft missile launch sites. And there's the GPS coordinates. And if you're a nerd for DayZ, this guy has pretty much all of the info. I like Call Me Rive there. Been telling people from the first days of Tizzy that those ramps were for radar systems, not rocket launchers. And the other one people used to always say is, they land helicopters on them, don't they? I imagine you could, but I don't think a helicopter's going to want to land it when there's a massive radar dish up there. But that would be interesting. But yeah,
I know Sauerkraut servers added those like radars up there, but I'm surprised they never done that for vanilla.
Yeah.
They really should have.
Even this little tweet here that he did, just showing the actual spawn locations in the little guard shacks, was fantastic. He's just a wealth of information all in the one Twitter account, and you never know what you're going to get. And even this I found quite fascinating. A little bit of statistics this time. DayZ is a legendary game. It doesn't matter if you play third person or first person, but how do you enjoy the game? Play how you like it, enjoy. And then he's got a chart there showing the percentage of people who play first person and third. That was really interesting.
It's in
the breakup of the.
It is, to be fair.
There's so many third person servers, but most people play in first person. I'd love to know how he gets this sort of data, but yeah.
No idea.
Maybe Raxo's like some Rex secret alter ego account or something on Twitter.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, easily. Yeah. But no, it's an interesting account, and it's brilliant. It
Yeah.
really, really is brilliant.
Could you imagine, lad, if you're just driving and you didn't realise you were in the territory where some of the buildings for DayZ are located, and you drove past this fire station?
No, I'm pretty sure I'd recognise it. I would
No, I mean,
actually
you
be pogging.
You didn't know that it was going to be there. You would literally be like Leonardo DiCaprio. Go. That scene where he whistles and yep, that one.
I can't whistle, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same. You'd be stopping and just going, "Oh my dear Lord, oh my God, guys, can I come in here? Can I climb up the tower, please?" 49-year-old man with grey hair and his beard, nerding out over a fucking fire station. But I would completely. What about you? Always, would you?
Yeah, 100%.
Nice and brief, straight to the point.
Just straight, yeah. I was just about to say straight to the point. Like, need you say more?
Sorry, I was messing about with sound settings, so I was trying to keep it brief while I was messing about with the sound. But yeah, no, yeah, absolutely.
Now, lad, what else have you got that you wanted to bring up this week, mate?
Yeah, thanks. So, I was messing around in Kamensk. Is it Kamensk, the military base in the north?
Yeah.
I keep getting it mixed up with Kamenka. It's so annoying. So
Seaside resort.
I opened up the door and I played a completely brand new sound. And I was like, oh, this is a bit weird. It's out of sync with the actual door animation. But it sounds like the best way that I can describe it is like meaty and heavy, and it sounds like there's a whole bunch of different sounds going on at the same time. So I'm like, oh, maybe this is kind of like a placeholder. Maybe they're going to use it for something that's coming up in the new year. Who fucking knows? I don't know. And I also seen that they added completely brand new sounds for the doors with like the valves. You know, the ones I'm talking about. Like you got the ones at Tizzy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, got that kind of stuff in. I tried to see if there was anything else interesting. There wasn't that much. There was some script changes with the vehicles. A couple of lines taken out, especially in terms of like the scripts of unreleased vehicles, like the Truck 2. I can't remember which one that's for. But it seems pretty standard. It doesn't seem like there's any major changes. And yes, before anybody asks, I did check stuff about the Red 9. No, there's nothing there. Before anyone goes on about it. But I couldn't really find anything too much apart from those like little slight changes. I did check out the new repaired staircase for the silo buildings. They're scary to go up, but I can easily see how people will use that for a base, and honestly, I hope they do. Lake is just asking, will there be an update trailer? I always enjoy these as cheesy as they are. It'll be a very brief one. I think they'll probably focus on more cannibalistic kind of style, maybe a character getting the absolute crap beaten out of them, then shot at the end, and then showing all the characters with the masks, maybe. But yeah, I mean, there's not that much to talk about, really. Yeah, Sauerkraut said, yeah, I got second place in the Taskmaster event. First event I've actually played in a long time. Cobra, you didn't turn up, and I'm sad.
Yes, we did have a discussion on this, and as I said to you the day before, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make this one, but I take it went well.
It was all right. Our friends at Friendly won, and I was super upset because I don't know if they said it in their latest episode, but I could have won the last event, the last task. You had to drive from Cherno all the way to the northeast side of the map. You know the Easter egg with like the caveman kind of thing with the club that's in the field. I don't think they knew where that was. I did. And they got in front of my car. They made me crash. So I was like, I'm going to sprint all the way up. They're never going to catch me. It's fine. And then I was like, I'll give you guys a hint. It's in the northeast side of the map. Yeah, they beat me. And I was very upset. I was very upset.
You gave them the tools to beat you. Love it.
Yeah, and I wasn't even halfway there. It was kind of
I know you got beaten by our competition, those evil boys over at Friendly's, a DayZ Podcast. But we've always got it over them that you didn't fall for the Northwest Field.
Yes.
I didn't comment on their video, and I gave them a shout out. Always, I said credit to you guys for leaving that bit in, because they could have gone and edited it out. But they left it in there when they got absolutely fooled by the DayZ EXP account, which I was so glad they did, because you got to leave the good, the bad, and the ugly in there, folks. Yeah, it's all part of, and it adds to the. It's something that it's fun. We can engage with them over it when we do our little collab with them. You better be prepared for me to rip the absolute shit out of them. Over falling for the Northwest Field. That was hilarious. I was listening to it going, man. You legends, you fucking legends. And if you don't know, if you're not watching, you can get caught by that account, can't you, always?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think, and for them, like you say, to include it as well, that's good. They're doing some really good work as well.
Great. They're a genuine podcast. They've got little segues, little clips, a format they can stick to, and because they're recording it and not doing it live, it allows for a much more polished, professional. That's not a word that I think I've ever been accused of, is being professional. But we've got Cobra here now, so that's changing slowly. But
mate, we're slowly getting there, aren't we?
We are. Actually, I'm not going to say slowly, mate. We've there's a lot of changes happened, which has been fantastic to see. Cobra, content creator corner.
Go for it. Okay. So, as you know, I've been liking to focus on the kind of new smaller channels over the last little while. So, I'm going to draw your attention today. I see Boydie's left, but there is a few links here. A channel by the name of Division. Now, this chap plays along with Rav Plays from time to time, and I checked out quite a few of his recent videos. Now, the channel's doing pretty well. It's got currently 4,380 subscribers. Been going since 2019, September 2019. And the thing that I really like about the channel is there are two things. The thumbnails are really, really good. Boydie, I'm going to send you. In fact, I may be able to put it in the link in now. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'm going to put a couple of links in the chat for people to have a little look at here.
Yeah, take a look for yourselves.
Let me have a little look here. Bang, bang, bang. There we go. Have a look at some of the stuff on the channel. So the last four videos they've done, the thumbnails are outstanding, in my view. There's a video called "Revenge Never Tasted So Good" or "So Sweet." That thumbnail, I just love it. It looks really great. The one next to it, "The Most Profitable Raid Ever." Not sure if that is a true reflection on every video out there, but again, a thumbnail is really, really good. And what I also like about this chap is he's kind of gone from a bit of there's a couple of thumbnails, a bit cartoony thumbnails, and then brought them back in to, like, I'm not sure if some of that's AI, you know. I haven't made contact with this chap, but I will do and see what the situation is. But I think he's done a little bit of AI work, and then gone back to his normal kind of thing, which looks really good. And some of the videos are pretty good as well. So averaging some decent views, anywhere between 5, 10, 12,000. The last one is currently on 9,000 views. So when you can, go and take a little look at Division and tell us what you think. I think it's another good up-and-coming channel there. What do you think, Always? Do you know this chap?
I don't know, but I'm just checking him out now. Really impressed, especially with the thumbnails. Really
they look good, don't they?
To the point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, his names are on point as well. There's some interesting names. A raid you won't forget. That'll be what I'll be checking out.
Yeah. I've literally just had a little look at that video about 3 hours ago. It's an interesting one. Him and Rav Plays are in that video. It's a duo, and they actually stay on the coast for the entire video. But they actually managed to build somewhat of a questionable base, and managed to raid a quite more substantial base, shall we say, by I'd say questionable methods. It's not cheating. It's not hacking or anything like that. But it's quite interesting. They found a little move around, shall we say, how to kind of land on the top of an apartment, but land halfway down without dying. So it's quite interesting how they've done that. There is a little ledge, and you've got to lie down, and you've got to do a little bit of moving around.
Yeah, I know that one. It's
an interesting take on how to raid a base without raid tools, bypass maybe 6 gates if it's an apartment. So it's an interesting little watch, that, and I suggest when you've got time, have a little look at that. But from the content creator corner, go on, lad, what you saying?
I was going to say, honestly, if you build a base in an apartment, you better put up landmines or bear traps on every single balcony, honestly, because that...
Well, the thing is, you see, I've tried that before, right, and I've always fallen to my death on here. But there is a way. I knew there was a way of somehow doing it without going on to modded servers where you can stack watchtowers and things like that, right? So the server they've done that on is a modded server, and you can stack. But they didn't do that. They were hanging off the side of this top of the apartment, and after clearly quite a bit of time of wiggling around, they actually and they did die a couple of times whilst doing it. They had to run back, but on the 4th or 3rd attempt, whatever it was, they actually did it, and they dropped straight down about 3 floors and landed on the same platform and managed to get in. So I think they come away with a couple of VSDs and all kinds of stuff. Now, the interesting thing for that was they lobbed all of the guns, obviously, because they knew they were going to die, straight onto the floor, jumped down, died, and then ran back and grabbed them. But yeah, I mean, if you're the base owner for that, you've got no damage, all your shit's gone. How's that happened?
Yeah, you immediately
Do you know what I mean?
think of something nefarious going on. No, it's just a couple of people who've got a lot of time, and they want to do some DayZ science, and it worked out in their favour. So
it definitely was a bit of science, DayZ science, I assure you. But what about you, Always? Have you managed to get into a base like that before?
Managed to get into a what? Sorry, cut out.
Into a base in that type of scenario before?
I used to, before I think they've pushed it out now, I used to crawl through windows.
Yes, same here.
Sort of my way to do it. Yeah, but bases, it has bases. I do think dropping in, it. I don't know. I feel like a wall should be a wall.
I agree with you. I do agree with you. Yeah.
I'm sorry, but that's one of the. just imagine that on a quote wall, this inspirational quote. I believe a wall should be a wall. Alwaysstreams 2023. Jesus Christ, I'm tired.
But it was it was an interesting. I was going to call it an exploit, but it shouldn't be. But it was interesting to see that actually, DayZ's DayZ, isn't it? The fact is, I've actually never done it. I've actually never done that. And to watch someone do it, it is possible still. So I'm sure it's going to be fixed now. Any of the devs watching?
So
I'm sure you're going to fix
that. He's doing
that.
these thumbnails himself?
What's that?
Maybe he could be using some AIs kind of as a tool to get it started out. But yeah, it's.
I've always wondered how people do these animated ones. Are they using those AI tools, or are they getting an artist to do it and stuff like that? Because some of them just look brilliant.
Well, funny enough,
beautiful.
I know, agreed, mate, agreed. I have been messing around. I know myself and Marks have both been messing around with the AI stuff. Now, funny enough, I've been looking at the Mid-Journey AI, and it is interesting. The only thing I'd say about it, I'm not sure if any of you know about Midjourney. I'm sure many of you have heard of it before. But basically, you type in a sentence or a couple of sentences of keywords that you want it to kind of merge 4 pictures together. And it comes up with a number of pictures. You can re-render them, you can change them up, you can add different words, and it will alter the picture kind of thing. And in the end, you pick one. So I have been having a look at this. The only problem for me was I can't get exactly what I'm looking for. So I'm having to go back and still do them myself at the moment. I have got someone who, quite a few contacts who will do them, and they're very good. But I'm kind of focusing on me doing them and me trying to learn the new AI thing. I think there's the conversation there is you can go too far with the AI and it just looks completely, in my opinion, wrong. Or you can get a kind of in between, which can look good. Because if you look at a lot of the thumbnails, the AI ones now, it's easy to get backgrounds that kind of could look like DayZ type backgrounds.
Yeah. It's
the figure and it's the rest of the setup that's really difficult to do. So you may just get the background, import it in, add a DayZ figure to it kind of thing, in your own Premiere. I use Adobe Premiere Pro, so it's quite easy to do. But, it's interesting. What about you, Always? How are you doing your thumbnails these days?
I just... Oh, God, I have a really, really long, protracted way of doing them, but all mine are done without any admin tools or anything. And they're a nightmare to do, but, I have a lot of fun making mine. I sort of plan them out and try to get them as close as I can. Then, obviously, I'll go into, Photoshop and I'll mess about. I'll add items. I've got, I'll get items at different views and then edit them into photos and stuff like that. So I take the long way around, basically. Apart from a handful have been sent to me by subscribers, and they've been like, "Can you use this?" And then I've sort of included that. But 99% of my thumbnails are just there's 3 hours went into them, and it's just unnecessary. But that's how I've always done them.
I still don't know where I feel about those AI art generating tools. Knowing some of the background of how there's a massive lawsuit happening at the moment. Getty's Images is suing the big one. So be careful using them. I don't know how they'd ever prove unless you overlook a signature or something like that. But I'm still very much on the fence about the AI art because it's pretty much, from what I understand, it's opt out, not opt in. To having your images used to help that AI create its knowledge base. So, ethically, it just, I know you guys are talking it, but I just wanted to add my thoughts on it. But, I'm just not comfortable using it yet.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah.
I mean, the other way of doing it, getting more back in line with what Always is talking about, because I, again, have done this previously. I used to go into my own personal server, change the lighting to night or darkish, because that's always when you get the best kind of light reflections from fires and stuff, as Lad will know all about. So I would then sit my character down at the fire. I've got a few where it's completely, live in the kind of server itself. Nothing is generated. It's completely as it should be. The only problem with that is that, as Always has just said, I remember sitting there for 3 hours, 4 hours, 5 hours, probably more sometimes, getting the exact right lighting, the exact right position, then bringing it over into your editing software, then putting your word in, to get it perfect. It does take a lot of bloody time. It takes ages.
Yeah,
it really, really does. And it's, I mean, AI tools are it's a very touchy subject, and there's just I mean, I've used it. I used it to make shit posts and memes, but that's kind of like what I do with a bunch of friends in another Discord. We had it all set up. It was great, but people that use it for the thumbnails, knowing that they use it, they still make changes to still make it their kind of whatever their own additions. That's
I think the issue, Lad, is more if you're using it for a commercial purpose, that adds a bit of nerve factor to it when you're just using it to shitpost or something like that, and it's not really a commercial purpose. It's uncharted territory. The lawsuit will be interesting. Getty Images is pretty much the big bad boy on the block when it comes to protecting their IP. So it'll be interesting to see what the end result of that lawsuit is. But
Yeah.
No, that's an interesting channel though. That you showcased there, Cobra. I'm definitely gonna. I've just hit subscribe to it as well on the 87.8 account, but I'll definitely check that out. We had a question of the week. What's up with mushroom spawns? Player tracking. They're spawning in all different stages, and why? So many questions about this in the community right now. I must be out of touch because I hadn't heard that, lad. What's up with that?
Mushrooms spawn depending on how long your character is in a particular area. That's just pretty much it. It's a good way to track other players. It's been a feature for quite some time. You know, it's...
Yep, I use it myself. I love it. It's brilliant.
Yeah. Spawn at all different stages and why. Maybe there's a random chance, you know, maybe they could spawn dry or rotten or whatever else. Maybe it's got something to do with, like, maybe how long somebody's been there. I really don't know. Like, maybe somebody's fresh through in there. It's like the mushrooms are raw. Maybe they've been there for too bloody long. They're rotten. I don't know. I'll have to look into it. I'm pretty sure Warbo's done a video on it, though.
Yeah.
Yes.
Archie's mentioned it as well.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
So,
I'll tell you.
I
was gonna say-
a few times.
What was that, always?
I've mentioned it a few times. I've done a few videos on the mushroom spawns and fruit as well.
Mm-hmm. What's your thoughts on that mushroom spawning exactly?
I think it's good, and there's quite a lot of them. So especially for new players, I think finding fruit is a lot easier, but when you have to look for mushrooms, they do appear, and it does seem, as the lad picked up on then, when someone's been in the area for a couple of minutes, if you go to an area, a new area, and they're there, it's a good way to know that you're not alone in that area. So I really like them.
Because there's
this
not many ways you can track, is there, Cobra? And I do think that if that is bugging out at the moment, if they're spawning in at different stages, I think that's something that they should look at because, you know, barring a player leaving paper from unwrapping boxes of ammo, you know, there's no rubbish. You eat a can of food, it doesn't leave anything behind. So barring players having moved things around, you know, grabbing new items, and you walk into a room and you see that's not right, or you see a tree chopped down, or an old fireplace, there's not a lot of ways you can be aware that another player has been there. And you've got to have the knowledge to know that that's what that means. So if that's not working right at the moment, Cobra, they need to fix that because it is an important part of the game for the experienced DayZ player.
Well, I mean, it was interesting because it came up on one of my live streams last week, and you see, I answered it a certain way. So for me, my original theory on this, and I know Wobo's done a video on this, as several others have as well. I actually included them in one of my videos. My understanding of this was they identify, when they spawn in, they identify that a player has been there within a set period of time, like recently. Now, the alternative of this is if they've spawned in and they looking fresh and not rotten. My understanding originally, when they first introduced them, was that meant that a player was nearby within a few minute radius.
Yeah,
if they were rotten, then that player, whoever activated that growth, could have been 10, 15, 20, 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
However, what I understand, having a chat with some people in the modding community, is that there is a ratio. There are two things. You obviously, as Lad will know, you can change that ratio for any modded server. But there's also a situation where I now am led to believe that they are spawning in randomly. So what it actually means is, yes, it does mean a player has been nearby, but no longer does it mean that if they're rotten, that is old. They could just spawn in rotten. So for me, tracking a player that way, if the tables is right, you know, if it is 20 minutes away and then they are rotten, that would make more sense to me. And in terms of player tracking, obviously you've got the way the zombie falls, feet-wise, all the rest of it, point of direction of where a player has attacked from and that kind of thing. There's a lot of ways. I say there's a lot of ways. There's a few ways to track players. But other than the basic normal stuff like you hear a shot or, as you were saying, you're chopping down bits, don't forget trees that get chopped down. Sometimes on a lot of servers, they're not going to go away until the server restarts. So, it is difficult to track unless you really know the ins and outs of the mechanics. But I do need to very quickly just address one thing in chat with Mark. So when I said myself and Mark's were having a little look at AI, Mark's has put in there he only uses his screenshots or whatever. Yeah, what I was referring to was me and him had a conversation about AI a little while ago, and asked him what he was looking at, kind of thing. So I wasn't saying in any way, shape, or form that he's using AI to do his thumbnails. So just be clear on that one. But no, going back to the mushrooms, I think it's a very valid question, and it would make sense. And maybe we can get some a real definitive from Scotty or someone around that. Does it mean, or does it no longer mean, if they're rotten, that someone's been there about 20 minutes ago?
Someone needs to look into that. We need to.
See, I don't think it does.
Clarify.
Yeah, I don't think it does. In my experience, I can just go to an area and there'll just be rotten mushrooms there.
Yes.
When they spawn, I no one's in that area, or at least haven't been there in that area. So as far as I'm aware, it's random. There's no specific way. I do agree that that would be a good way for it to be, especially like fruit as well. Fruit is the same thing. You go there, you can see it rotten on the floor, but after a while, it would be good if it started to go to that stage.
Yeah.
The time system would be cool.
I think, I completely agree with you, mate. I think if that is the way, if that isn't the way, it isn't the case now, which I'm told it isn't, that's definitely the way to go, in my view. Because you do need to have some ability to be able to track.
I agree.
Other than the normal stuff.
Derlef thinks it's better if it's random. I don't agree. I think there needs to be some sort of way, because you can't track footprints, that sort of stuff. There needs to be something, and everyone's talking about empty cans and all the rest of it. I know the server I mainly play, DayZ Down Under, has a mod where when you finish a can of food, it just drops it empty on the ground, so you can pick it up again if you don't want to leave it behind. But I like that. I like being able to go in, and not only is it for tracking, but it just gives the world a lived-in feel. It's very hard to, especially if you're playing on a LOL pop server, it's very hard to know if there's other players around you, unless you hear pretty much gunshots or see zombie aggro, things like that. So little things like that definitely do help. We've had a video shared with us. DOJ was attempting to find it. Just let me bring up my screen. I've got it on full size. It looks a bit blurry, but this was to do with when we were talking about IRL locations for DayZ. So let's hit play and hope to God he hasn't sent us any German specials.
I took a quick look at it.
I'm glad you did. I'm trusting him, which is stupid of me.
Oh, there you go.
I want to know what chopper they're in. Got a distinctive sound to it.
It's not one of ours, mate.
No.
It's probably some Czech or Russian.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Old school. 1950s. There you go.
It's red button.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, some unique buildings there.
Oh, look, there's an underground there.
Yeah, like a little, probably it's like a similar to an ammunition bunker or something.
This is a very chaotic military base. I'm gonna say that. Military bases I've been on usually aren't this chaotic. Then again, I haven't been over many of them in the air, but yeah.
This is Tizzy, so
That bit is.
yeah, no, the whole thing's Tizzy.
Attrition, I do that and I get heli, bullets bouncing off the heli. Must be a dead server.
Yeah.
Like, this is a video of yeah.
IRL. Or the base that is the inspiration for Tizzy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And like DOJ said now, it's crazy to think that it's all a forest now.
So it still exists, but it's overgrown. Is that what you said?
Yeah, it's pretty much abandoned. Realistically, you're not allowed to go there, but
Right.
people
So it's
still do.
it's lockdown type. Yeah.
Pretty much. Yeah.
How old is this footage?
I mean, judging by the quality, I wouldn't be surprised if this is done in
This is-
the 80s or 90s.
I was going to say
Yeah.
this has got to be 70s, 80s, isn't it?
They're moving the S-200 missile.
Yeah. 1991.
1991.
There you go.
So I was right. I was
You're
right.
bang on it, mate. 80s, 90s.
Mate, I was going before that. I was thinking 70s, 80s.
No, I agree with Lad's reasoning. The video footage is too good a quality. But 91, this is right around the fall of the Soviet Union. So this is very interesting footage.
This footage is really cool.
I'll try to remember to put a link to this in the description of the video for those of you who are listening to the audio. Although the Spotlight, the Spotify is now available as a video as well, folks. So.
Oh, skill speed. While you're here, once this video's over, I need to show the people what you've done.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Almost done.
Yeah. Ah, very good, mate. Very good. And it crashes.
Yeah.
Not really.
To the coast.
That's awesome. That is really.
Fucking hope not.
So helicopters confirmed. DOJ has shared that video. It wasn't about the base, folks. It was about that's what helicopters are going to be based on. So thank you for
totally,
the for the scoop there, DOJ. Helicopters confirmed in 1.2.
Very rare
Lovely,
footage.
lovely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let me just get
Right.
back to the agenda.
Well, while you
Pretty
do
much-
that,
yeah, go for it.
so if we're gonna do kind of like our spotlights of the week, I want to say first off, Scale Speeder received the figure.
Yes.
He received it. He loved it. He said it was well packed, which I'm like, thank God for that, because I was petrified. And yeah, he posted a couple of pictures and tweets and stuff like that, and he was a dick.
Be careful with the video marks. It may be intellectual property to someone. You may get flagged for it. So definitely make it very transformative.
But yeah, so you post a good old tweet. DayZ King Yellow was missing his friend, me, so I sought him out with some home comforts. Yeah.
You gotta love that, haven't you? You gotta love that.
You know what it was? I was gonna put in a can of Iron Brew in the box, but I packed it that much there was no space. So I was like, for God's sake, man, God's sake. And to Flyver, if you're wondering why, like, you haven't received it, I mean, you'll know, but just to let everybody else know, Royal Mail got attacked by a cyber attack, and we can't export anymore. We can't send stuff abroad, so
Wow.
you're gonna have to wait a little bit because I don't trust other courier services. You know that's I want that to get there in one piece. You know. So,
This was my
but
favourite
skills-
tweet he did, lad. Soon this will all be mine. The King in Yellow pointing at the
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Yeah, I love that little. Yeah.
And
Superb.
I just want to reiterate, folks, because we got tagged in the tweets and that as well, but they're not for sale retail. You would need to have a third party license agreement as a basically to make stuff under the BI logo, and that's not possible. Also, Petty Weddy's not really interested in doing it for those reasons. We were very honoured, weren't we, lad, when he chose to partner with us to give away these this and the Hannah statue that we sent to the DayZ team. And I just want to reiterate again, and yes, this is me shilling, folks, but it's because of you awesome people who support us by subscribing to the channel, buying our merch, donating, whatever you do, that we're able to do things like this. Because they weren't cheap, as they shouldn't be. The scale speed is confirmed. Lad, you got to hold the fucking thing yourself. These are quality fucking items. I have no idea
Mate,
how he does it.
You've got no clue, mate. The quality was fantastic. Also, I've just sent you a video. A Scale Speed has just sent to me. Simply titled, "What the DayZ King in Yellow's favorite PC game."
Oh, here we go. Go on.
You got to turn your volume up a little bit.
I can't even hear the audio. What am
Yeah,
I
it's because you have to press.
up the top
You have to
there.
press the unmute. Refresh. Refresh the page. Refresh the page. There
Yeah,
we
I
go.
just did.
There we go. Now it's loading. It's not being a dick anymore.
Shut. Love it.
Mate, I really wanted to, but I could not afford to.
That's
Empty
brilliant.
box.
That's actually brilliant. And I've got to give another shout out to Michael. I know he was in here before. I'm not sure if he's still here, but Michael was there he is. Michael is the actual winner of the King in Yellow figurine from last year's Christmas show, and he chose to donate it to forward it on. Pay it forward to Scale Speeder for all of the work that he's done in supporting this game, and not just this game, but Scale Speed is a channel that you should be subscribed to, folks. He puts out some of the most random stuff. His reviews on Greg's sausage rolls was one of my favorites, particularly where he mixed it with some other pastry at the same time, and it was just odd. But I love it. I love it, and the fact that it's gone to Scale Speeder is we're getting to see all of these amazing pictures. This is how Scale Speeder works. He does awesome stuff, and the video and everything. It's fantastic, isn't it, lad?
It really, really is. It really is, honestly. But I'm gonna miss him.
Don't forget though, we've got Mr. Scale Speeder on as a guest shortly, so you'll get your chance to have a little chat.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yes,
see if I can get him to send us it back.
And Scale Speeder, you've got to work something out, man. If there is a chance, you've got to get yourself over to the Prague office, take the King in Yellow, and have a meet up with Hannah, who's in the DayZ offices there as well, which would be absolutely fantastic to see. It would be. Just, yeah. Now, I wanted to... a new segment that we're going to be doing, folks, is we are going to just revisit briefly, and I can share my screen because there's nothing inappropriate there. Comments from the last video. Topher, I'm glad you're happy I'm back, but I'm coming back to that point. They really need to figure out soft skills. I don't agree, lad. The soft skills don't belong in DayZ, in my opinion. I like the fact that DayZ is just down to your skill and your experience, and nothing else. You?
No, they do. They do need to figure out soft skills.
You don't agree
Soft
with
skills
me?
make you... Yeah, I know it's fucking crazy. It's a crazy world. But no, I think they need to put more focus on them this year. But streams, what do you think, mate?
I've always said I'm in two minds about it. Honestly, it depends how they implement it. But it would be nice if I'm building a base that eventually building a wall is a little bit quicker. Just little things like that could really, I think, benefit the player. But again, it depends. It might not work.
Cobra?
I'm banging the same corner, mate. Yeah, I do agree. Yeah, enough said on that. That's exactly what I said.
I did like this. My spotlight is on the DayZ default server, vanilla without cheaters. I don't know where all the... You speak to one person, lad, and they say cheaters are everywhere on vanilla. Lakivus, just sorry to go back. Scum does soft skills to the extreme. And it's a game mechanic, and I do appreciate that. But I just like the fact that DayZ, it's not down to how many points you have made up in a game or something like that. It's just purely down to your ability as a player versus another player, purely based on your skill and experience, not on skill points received and all the rest of it. And for those of you who haven't played Scum, the minute you start implementing a lot of soft skills, people start gaining the system. One of the soft skills in Scum is stealth, where basically it makes it harder for you to be seen. And when I had a server and I was the admin, what I would do is I would go around and I would find people just on their guts crawling in the ground in a bush. And that's how you leveled up your stealth. And that skill stayed with them. And they were just...
That's amazing.
They were just laying there crawling against a wall. And there was other gains you could do as well. I'm open to it, but it needs to be done correctly, and it needs to be the most minor things, because the other thing I didn't like, and as much as I love Scum, but I personally, I'm wording that kind of wrong. I like it that it's in Scum, but it comes down to, Cobra, I might be across the field from you, and you purely would not be able to see me, even though we were in the exact same bush, we're in the exact same clothes, with the exact same gear, because I had a better camouflage score than you, and your perception wasn't high enough, because my character had more points. I gained the system and leveled up those points to the point where it's physically impossible for you to actually see my character render in. That's where you've got to be careful with the way, and that's a great game mechanic if you want to play a game with those mechanics in it. I've always liked DayZ for the fact that it is just bare bones, pure skill, pure down to the choices you make, and not about, non-combat altering skills. I didn't mind things like the way they used to have the slider bar. I didn't like the fact that it was a slider bar, that you could only go one way or the other, construction or repairing. But just the cold resistance in the molsk was an okay one. I actually liked that, but yeah, you've got to be very careful when you start talking about soft skills, folks. There's plenty of cases that you can look to where it can be abused. Lad? Have I changed your mind?
Game the system. Have fun with it. No, you haven't changed my mind. Honestly, no. I think there's just too many benefits to having a solid soft skill system. But a good thing with DayZ is that it does things in a very unique way, different from the competition.
Mm-hmm.
So I have faith in what they'll introduce, if they do go ahead for that.
Okay. Back to the agenda. You've had that ready. I'm a bit out of practice, lad.
Yeah, you are a bit. I mean, to be fair, though, it was a great start.
Great start. No audio, echoey mic. Yeah, just Boydie's back. Yeah, fucking idiot he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Clips of the week. I don't think we had any submitted, did we? That's all right.
No.
If we haven't. So individual spotlights we are moving on to now. We will start with our guest, Mr. Always Streams. What's something in the last week or so that you would like to shine the spotlight on? It could be something of yours. It could be something someone else has done. Anything at all, mate.
Oh wow. There was a video I saw, and I can't pronounce the name, and I can't remember the name exactly, but it's a good channel, very small channel, and it's one that I found quite interesting. I think it's Kimaway, maybe.
Right.
I'll find it and I'll post it in the Discord, and they do really cool videos. It seems to be two of them, and I've been having a lot of fun watching their content as of the past week and a half, actually.
Awesome. Lad, what about you, mate?
The community. No, it's not. Which, by the way, if I'm, do you think it's all right if I announce that?
Yeah.
Actually, buddy.
Yep.
So my spotlight is actually
Merch.
technically the community. It is actually merch. So
buy that merch.
so what's happening is that we're going to be expanding a lot on what we do here as a show, and one part of that is merch ideas. Now I've already gotten in touch with somebody. Capitalism, so good.
Oh yeah. Cobra looks like he's about to vomit in his mouth when you and I do that, mate. It's like he's sitting there going, "What the fuck is up with these two?"
I think we're talking about a different show completely here, boys. But anyway.
But we are going to be expanding our merch this coming year, and I've already got in touch with somebody with a certain design. So hopefully in the next few weeks to a month, we'll be able to have that, and you'll be able to buy that on various different stuff. There's nothing to show off right now. It's very early stages, but if this goes well, it'll open the door for more different designs. And Boyd, if I'm being perfectly honest, I think we should let people also maybe have a little bit of a competition, maybe decide on maybe their own designs to be merch, or at least something like that. I
am totally up for that as well, and we'll work something out to make sure you get a slice of the pie as well. It's an idea that I've had for quite some time. My spotlight, I want to put it on Wobo. Technically, it's 8 days old, but his how to equip weapons faster video. And one of the reasons why is this is actually an idea I sent to him last year sometime, because it was something that had intrigued me about the differences between what was basically the best weapon, and some of us knew about the shoulder thing, but he did a Wobo on it, and he went right in depth. And he did melee weapons, one-handed firearms, two-handed firearms, two-handed melee, one-handed melee. If you haven't seen this video, I'll post a link in chat to it now. You need to go watch this one if you play DayZ a lot, because there were some surprising elements to it. I'm not going to ruin it. Go watch it. Go support our boy Wobo. Again, one of the reasons we like to monetize is so that we can help support people in the community as well. And we are... why did it block you always?
Yeah, when people post certain links, it'll be like, nah. Yeah, okay. Maybe it'll catch it.
But yeah.
Well, that's offensive.
So a great video, folks. Definitely worth checking out. Wobo on the money again, and we're proud to be one of his highest tier supporters as well. Cobra, you're the last cab off the rank, mate. What's your spotlight?
So mine is a new server that's just come up, and it covers the latest edition of the map Barrington. So one of my good friends, T, who owns the Traveller servers, has opened up
T was in
a
chat
new.
as well.
That's right. That's right. He's opened up a new server called New Barrington Survive or Die. Now this place is popping. It's a 60 slot. It's full. It's been full for 2 days. I did a video on there. I'm going to post it in the chat now. The stuff on here. Have you all played Barrington? Have you all seen Barrington
No,
yet?
I've seen
not
it, but I haven't
yet.
played
I
it.
need to.
Go and check the video I've just put out. Every possible area that is worthy of showing, I've put in that video. So it's an exploration video, basically. And I'll tell you what, the server is actually the perfect loot system for the kind of stuff I like. It's very vanilla-ish with 1 or 2 mods added, nothing heavy. And I tell you what, the scenes in there are spectacular, some of the areas, and there's lots of secrets there as well. So yeah, go and jump on that server if you can get in. I mean, at the moment right now, let me just refresh, 59 out of 60, and it's jumping between full and that. So yeah, go and take a look at the server. Very, very good server.
Guys, we have had a absolute cracker of an episode. I think a few hiccups. It wouldn't be my boy podcast without a few hiccups at the beginning. I do want to address just quickly. I know Lad covered it why I was coming back, but yeah, I've got the bug again, folks. The Christmas episode was massive, and it's a huge fucking year for DayZ this year, isn't it, Lad?
Oh yeah,
10
easily.
years, folks. 10 years.
10 years. It's 10 years, and we want to get in on that.
14th of December, I think, was the release date. Back in
something like that.
Yeah, 2013.
Back in 2013.
I just want to give you a shout out, Lad. You did a fucking awesome job with the show while I was gone, mate. You kept it going. Added your personal touch to it, and a lot of those elements are being kept on. We, just so everyone knows, we had a big internal review as well, and you might have noticed a slightly different format. This is all based on feedback that a lot of you guys gave to Cobra, which we appreciate you. We really, really do, and we're excited to see where we can go. Unfortunately, our boy Lemons couldn't make it this week. He does have work that is a bit intermittent, so obviously a paid job has to come first. But Lad touched on it. We are looking at ways to expand our monetization model, folks. As tacky as that sounds, but we want to get more money coming in so we can do more. And maybe do a mid-year equivalent of our Christmas show, things like that. We would love to have people going and attending gamer conventions and things like that, representing the 87A community. Meetups in different areas and stuff like that. So pretty much this isn't a for-profit gig. This is a community gig, and one of the other changes we're making is Red Falcon is going to be involved more with the core team as well. He's a very savvy businessman. Cobra and him had a good chat as well. I had a good chat with him the other day. So look at a lot of changes coming in the future because we really want to up our game. We've got competition, and competition is fucking awesome. They're not really competition, but they're competition in the technical term. So they're making us lift our game. What can we do better for you? And that's what we have always been all about. But we will always continue to support anyone else out there who is doing something the same as us, because the more DayZ content, the better, in my opinion.
Hell yes.
Yes,
Hell
mate.
yes.
Before we do our farewells and thank our guest, I have a spotlight that I'm doing in about 18 hours or so from now. It's on a survival gamer content creator named Rick Slati. And he's a bit like me in that there's a lot of games he likes to cover. Scum, the day before. We'll see how that one pans out. And also, please go back and check out the Road to Vostok interview I did midweek. I'm so excited for that game. I don't know about you. Always, have you been following that at all?
No, not really, not a lot. I'd love to be able to sort of chip in, but no.
It's a single player, and that's one of the things I like about it. I know that turns a lot of people off, but I spent a good 2 hours chatting with Auntie in chat, and it was absolutely amazing, absolutely amazing. I was really he's ticking all the right boxes, but I'm excited to see that. Always, thank you so much. We could do a calendar, couldn't we? We could get Skullspeeder to do some a special, maybe December, Christmas calendar. Him in nothing but a DayZ themed G-bunger with the Yellow King in some sexy poses. And Cobra Cobra just threw up in his mouth again. But yeah. Get a sponsorship. Mate, we need to get Iron Brew to sponsor Lad. That's all we need. Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, always thank you so much for coming on again, mate. You're killing it. Keep on killing it. It sucks that the algorithm is hurting you as much as it is for your cheeky little sense of humour. Maybe move them back a bit so that they're not so early in the video. Maybe that's what's hurting you based on these new things. But just maybe do a video just explaining that to people that you just got to play with the format a bit because whilst, as you said, mate, it's a hobby for you, but it doesn't hurt to make a few bucks because it lets you do more with what you're doing, doesn't it?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And thanks for having me as well. It's been really fun.
No, I love having you on, mate. You're a kindred spirit. You do this because you love the game and you love the community, and I love you. I love that. I've always had I gravitate towards those people with a cheeky sense of humour. You, Archie, Wobo, the three that I think of straight away when it comes to making content. Septic Falcon used to have a pretty good sense of humour when he was doing his status report updates, and I like that stuff. But yeah, guys. Thank you all so much, everyone. Next week's guest is one of those people I was just talking about, Mr. Archie Stormcloud, coming back in to say g'day and give us his best impression of Marks and everything else that he does. And yeah, so that was still one of my favourite episodes, lad.
Oh, it was a good one. It's going to be nice to have him back.
Yeah, it will be. It will be. Thank you all so much. We will see you next week. Same time. It's an hour earlier now because that enables me to get it off. We're just over 2 hours, so we stuck to around about the time that we want, isn't it, guys? And yeah. Thank you all so much.
It's been absolutely fun. Take care now.
Take care.
And bye.